Oh, oops. Intermission music does not loop. There we go. Oop, silly me. Whatever. So... Hey, Ryan Jones, who are you? You seem familiar. So the reason I have not been live streaming lately is because we had a crappy Xfinity router. So now that we got a new router that won't crap out in the middle of my stream when everybody's using the internet, I figured I'm gonna do something special and change things up as we play into the new year. Hopefully I can like keep it going for like, I don't know, like 7 hours or something. And as the title says, I'm going to be shamelessly putting a PayPal link on the screen and donations. I do not know how they set up those those donation fanfares whenever a donation comes in, but I guess I'm gonna like keep tabs on PayPal itself when something happens. Of course, donations are not like mandatory. There's no I'm not gonna like go so far as to like make like subscription stuff. I'm just gonna like put a PayPal link. If you want to donate, do it. Take a penny, leave a penny, all that stuff. Anyways, on to what I was wanting to do finally to get around to doing now that I have my interest in it again. Torchlight 2. I want to do what I like to call a stream let's play, like going over the mechanics and such. And it's going to be just I think I'm going to be doing one character on normal and going through like new game plus each time, or maybe showing off some of the other features when possible. So let's start a new game. It's going to be like slightly modded at first until I get to new game plus. Then I'm going to do some more like visual or just some cosmetic mods. The only things I really have mounted right now are I have just moved options menu so you can see your character when you pause. No fumble, which is a stupid mechanic that I remove. Silent narrator, and I think there was a fourth one. Oh well. Well, I'm gonna start, I should probably put in my headphones so we don't get any, echoed, there we go. That way we don't get, like, echoed, sounds. I'm gonna be going through this game this game is like Diablo 2. It's made by the exact same people as well, right down to the soundtrack being by Matt Ullman. There are 4 classes to choose from. Ember Mage, your typical fragile, high damage and devastating side effect mage. You fire spells for damage over time, ice spells for slowing down, electric spells for crowd control. Berserker, close range DPS, relies on claws that nullify half of the enemy's armor value, with a lot of like close range buffing stuff, kind of like the Barbarian. Engineer, your tank and support class. Heavy armor, sometimes uses shields, two-hand weapons, or handheld cannons. Outlander, your ranged class, guns, bows, shotguns, etc. I'm going to be going with this one since I kind of like this one. going to be playing female and base it off one of my characters, Tasha, the Absol. There we go. Shoot. As close as I'm gonna get to an Absol look. And my pet. You have a variety of pets to choose from. It's similar to that of it's kind of, think of it like the helper of Diablo 2, except when they run out of health, they just simply flee for a bit. And they can also carry their own inventory and go back to town to sell items for you. For this, I'm going to choose a Wolfie, base it off myself, my Lycanroc self, so call him Dally. There we go. We're going to be playing on normal. Casual is like, pretty much like, you can just go through the whole game with just the left mouse button if you really want. Normal, use some skills, use some normal attacks. Veteran is for like people familiar with the game. You might need to like spend some extra preparation. And elite mode is only for those that really know what they're doing, as in the true min-maxers. And of course, like Diablo 2 and other games, hardcore mode means permanent death. For this, we're just going to be playing normal mode. Just kind of show off the game, what the game is. And there's both read dialogue and voiceless dialogue. I'm going to be reading the voiceless dialogue in my best impressions I can. But let's start a single player game.
Three heroes confronted the beast called Ordrock. Yet even in death, Ordrock's corrupted heart endured and called out.
You kind of need to know the... Oh, right, I should be quiet for a cutscene. Well, I mean, there's no voice, so I'll be quiet, but still talk. You need to know the context from the previous game, Torchlight, which is kind of similar to the way Diablo progresses. Torchlight had you going into the mines of the town of Torchlight to confront an evil. That is the Destroyer, the melee class of the first game. And the evil guy is what was once the Alchemist, the mage class of the first game. There is a mystical material called Ember, magical elemental gems, but they created Ember Blight if you're exposed too much to it. So even after defeating Ordrock, the Alchemist was wanting to find a cure to his Ember Blight, so he's driven to kind of this madness, hence to try and find a cure. You'll see the Vanquisher, the ranged class of the first game.
Hope may fade, but new heroes will rise.
So yeah, in essence, it's similar story progression like that of Diablo 1 and 2, you know. 3 classes, Undertown Dungeon, that game takes place in an Undertown Dungeon. Torchlight 2, 3 acts, a Badlands Desert and a Swamp, with a final 4th act Hell area, where you're chasing after an evil protagonist of the original game. But unlike Diablo 2, where you have the other classes, like the Blood Raven and the Sorcerer or Summoner. Two of them turned out to be still good. So let's look at. So here we are. See if you know Diablo 2, you'll probably love this game. So you have your skill bar, charge meter, mana, health globes. You have casted skills, passive skills. All right. Story. Welcome to Torchlight 2. Speak to the Destroyer. He's standing by a Vanquisher medic near the tavern building. The Destroyer, one of the famous heroes of Torchlight, asks you to accompany him back to the scene of his greatest triumph, the small mining town where he, the Vanquisher, and the Alchemist defeated the dragon Ordrock. When you got there, though, a pitched battle was going on between soldiers of the Vanquisher Corps, led by the Syl the Seer and the Alchemist. The armor-clad Alchemist had retrieved Ordrock's heart and was laying waste to Torchlight. When Syl fell in battle, the Destroyer realized that he couldn't stop the Alchemist, and instead turned his efforts towards warning the nearest settlement. Unfortunately, between the winding trail and the Destroyer's injury, it took you days to even get this far, and the Destroyer can't go on. So speak to the Destroyer?
I think this is as far as I can go. You should carry on to the Asterian Enclave, but you're on your own. Warn them that the Alchemist destroyed Torchlight, and is headed their way. He may be there already. The Alchemist will be headed this way, and if he passes through here, we'll be waiting for him. Someone needs to warn the Asterians. Head up the pass to their enclave. Find my old friend Commander Vale, and let her know what happened.
Are you injured?
You two are lucky to have made it this far, seeing how badly wounded the Destroyer is. Man, I think you're on your own now from here to the Enclave. The Destroyer can barely stand, let alone fight its way through all those Sturmbjorn in the pass.
You just get here?
Did you come from Torchlight? We heard rumors that somebody wiped out the whole town. Get a lot of Vanquishers, and that mystic Syl, too. There's also the special horse. Horse clearly thinks he's the main attraction. Horse dies narrows. You feel a moment of terror. There's just a lot of things that clicking on it will bring up.
What's your business here?
We've tangled with the Sturmbjorn a few times since we got here. Them or the Rattlins jump us every time we try to move supplies up to the pass to the Asterian city. Hope the commander comes back with some relief soon.
Glad you made it.
Sturmbjorn are Bearmen raiders from the north. They attack the Asterians every few years. The Vanquisher Corps is here to protect the Asterians, make sure the Guardian temples are safe.
You just get here?
The Enclave is this way, up Echo Pass with the Rattlin and Sturmbjorn. It can be dangerous, so if you're not sure you're ready, you should get your bearings here first.
What's your business here?
Sturmbjorn...
Glad you made it.
The pass is infested with Rattlin. There's some Sturmbjorn raiders, too. We pretty much control the pass right now. We can't get any troops through. Every time we try, we end up with more wounded. So here we are. Typical, quick to attack. Your character starts with dual pistols. You have typical things like critical hits. I mentioned before there's something called fumble, which is kind of like an opposite of a critical hit. And it sucks because it's too often with ranged weapons, so I just have a mod that removes that. Call it cheating. I say it makes the gameplay a lot less annoying. Also, when you're dual-wielding two weapons of the same type, you also have what's known as an execute chance, where you attack with both weapons at the same time. You'll see it when she crosses when she levels both pistols together, like there. That was an execution. The higher you're focused at, the more likely you are to execute. Focus increases your mana, magic damage, and execute chance. So now that we have a level up, we can get a new skill. I'm going to be trying to play Sigil Outlander, since highly maximized builds aren't too important in casual and normal mode. I'm gonna go for like the various types of packs, like Stone Pack, Shadow Mantle, etc. Probably gonna choose these four, and then I always like to choose 4 active skills, 4 passive skills, and max them out. Then dump the rest into a random passive skill. So we have strength, dexterity, focus, vitality, strength, weapon damage, critical damage. Dexterity is your chance to land a critical, dodge attacks, and recover a fumble. Focus is your execute, magic damage, and maximum mana. And vitality is health, armor bonus, and block chance with the shield. So, because we're playing Outlander, I want to search up a something quickly. This is a bit of spoilers. Sorry. Just wanted to see 364 dexterity. So there's a piece of armor for the Outlander that requires 364 dexterity to equip for all pieces. So I'm going to be dumping most of my stats into dexterity, but the rest into focus, because focus is always the most important skill. Or, I mean, the most important attribute. A lot of the unique and rare weapons you find near the end of the game will always have an elemental damage type to them. So having a lot in focus both increases, like, the damage your magic does, and, like, the elemental damage yours does. Which is why I'm also going to be investing a lot in the Master of the Elements to increase all the elemental damage even further. Alright, I should probably press on and stop, like, jabbering on. Also, I should also let somebody else know. Yeah, I'm streaming. Sorry, I just need to check something quickly. Okay, now I'm back. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a longer. If I decide to like do this all on stream, a single game, it's probably going to get boring for me, and I'm probably going to change games throughout the stream. Torchlight 2 is probably going to be a every so often. If my sister is wanting to play, and my brother comes home at around 9 o'clock, I might switch over, because I have Dolphin Emulator. We might play Dokapon Kingdom, which I've been wanting to play so much. Let's see. Let's see. Put more into Master of the Elements.
What's your business?
You saved my life. I thought those ratlins had my number for sure. So my hands are freaking cold. It has been ridiculously cold in Minnesota for some reason. So as you can see, that unique champion monster dropped a key, and it was also the fact that it increased our fame. Fame is a separate statistic tracked from experience. And every new level of fame, as you can see here, gets you a new skill point, but not stat point. So you can have like about 120 something, like 133 skill points, I want to say. It's 50, 30, 45. Yeah, somewhere around that level. So let's see, we have Vanquisher Guard.
You a new recruit?
The commander's not here. She's in the field. Talk to the Assyrian Regent.
State your business. What's your business here?
If you're not authorized to travel here, I can't help you. Talk to the Grand Regent.
You a new recruit?
What's this guy say?
Glad you made it.
Sorry, but access to the Path of the Honored Dead is closed by order of the Assyrian Grand Regent.
Thank you for your warning, but it has arrived too late. This alchemist has already come and gone, and it was all I could do to prevent him from entering the enclave. As it was, many Asterians were injured, and since the confrontation, several more have become ill. We are not sure what is causing it. After his assault failed here, the alchemist carried on southward toward the temple steps. Commander Vale and her vanquishers arrived a short while later and pursued him, hoping to prevent further damage. Commander Vale believes that the alchemist might attack the Wellspring Temple in an attempt to reach the Guardian of Water. What nefarious purpose I am afraid to speculate. There has been no word from either Vale or the Guardian. Scout the Wellspring Temple and determine if the Guardian of Water is in any danger.
So we got a new weapon from that quest, a shotgun. Shotguns damage all targets within an arc. So they're higher knockback, less damage. Some of them are pretty slow, some of them are pretty fast. And it's kind of more of the crowd control type thing. Shift clicking transfers everything to transfer stuff to your pet's inventory. When you go to a vendor, you can either click sell all or have your pet travel back to town once it becomes applicable. You can't do that in the first area. Let's see. Melvin?
Welcome, human.
Also, there's like additional dialogue when you talk to them before completing a quest, so I want to see if we can get all that.
I must be on my way soon. If the alchemist is attacking Guardians, he will be after the Guardian at the Watchwheel Temple, assuming the Vanquisher failed to stop him at the Wellspring. The Guardians are immensely powerful beings. They control the elements and thus provide for life. They are not inviolable. A sufficiently powerful attacker could overcome it. The alchemist was able to do so. The threat he poses is greater than anything the world has faced since the Netherim invasion a millennium ago.
Yes.
I heard rumors that Syl perished battling the alchemist at Torchlight. She was a good friend. She will be missed. We have Thamor, a respec. You can recover up to your last 3 points invested. Since I'm not going to be using Glaive Throw, I'm going to recover it and put it into long range mastery. Blade Pact is a simple sigil spell. It creates a just creates an area of effect that increases their decreases their defense and slows them down, and thus allows you to do more damage and such. I'm gonna play like a Hex Outlander. If you're going down to the temple steps, I could use your help. The Sternbjorn have set up a makeshift smithy there, and they have 2 blacksmiths making suits of armor for wild war beasts they captured. Those Sternbjorn seem to be working from schematics, but they keep them under lock and key. You think you might be able to get in there and grab the armor schematics?
What's your business?
The Sternbjorn have rounded up a bunch of war beasts to use as shock troops. Now they're bolting pieces of armor onto them. They're dangerous at the best of times, but with that armor, they're even harder to kill. That's why we need you to find out how the Sternbjorn designed the armor. There has to be a weak spot somewhere.
State your business.
Let me see your authorization. Okay, you're cleared. Good luck out there.
Yes.
The Elemental Guardians are immensely powerful and boundlessly wise. It is a great honor to meet one. In the centuries that I have lived, I've only had that honor twice.
Welcome, friend.
Sternbjorn attack us from time to time, but never quite this fiercely. Their new leader, General Grail, seems particularly bloodthirsty, and instead of a few raiders, he has an army. Oh, that's the 4th mod, now I remember. It's the additional loading screen images. So, more on the classes of this game. I think for returning veteran Diablo 2 players, I think it would be best to list how each class behaves similar. The Outlander is like a mixture of an Amazon, Assassin, and a Necromancer. Necromancer because they have an affinity for poison and using skills that raise minions from slain enemies. Assassin because they have a lot of like debilitating packs, or I mean that's more Necromancer. Assassins because they have like the glaive throw similar to like the Blade Sentinel, and acrobatic skills, all sorts of traps too. And finally the Amazon because, well, they're the ranged character and they have all sorts of like different shots they can do. The Outlander's charge meter is just the most passive. It's simply, it increases cast speed, dodge chance, critical chance, and attack speed the more full it is, up to a 10% boost. You must be the human the other Starians are speaking of. I'm glad to have met you. I've been sent on a quest by Grand Regent Eldarin to recover the Scroll of Anamyrek, stored in a vault in the corrupted crypt here. Fortunately, the Sternbjorn have already entered the crypt, and I've been unable to get past them. Can I ask you to attempt to retrieve the scroll? I'll wait here in the path of the honored dead for your return. Should you succeed, I will see what I can provide you with some equipment more fitting for a hero of your stature.
I need your help.
Centuries ago, the Sage of Anamyrek devised a method of identifying, even curing Astarians who had become corrupted by the evil spirits known as Netherim. We had not been troubled by their ilk ever since. The attack by the alchemist, however, and the subsequent sickness reminded me of descriptions of Netherim possession. So I came here to seek Anamyrek's cure. My hope was to steal into the crypt and return before the Sternbjorn arrived, but as you can see, I was too late. So we have one of the side quests. Typically paths like these will have a side, will have like a little side dungeon like this, and I don't see why not. So, Also, passive skills, even if you put one, it's always a nice side effect to have no matter what. So we enter the Corrupted Crypt. Increase our dexterity so we get that nice, some more of that critical and dodge. Also, enemies with shields will block until the shield breaks. But as you can see, because he was set on fire, it still did enough damage over time to kill him, even though he still had his shield up. So that's a pretty cool thing to keep in mind. If you don't have the raw damage input to take down shields. What'd she say? Right, since this is New Year's Eve, we tend to have a lot of snacks. Also, your hotkeys for potion usage is Z for health, X for mana, and of course you have restoration potions that work faster and do both, but of course they're harder to come by. They can't be bought nor transmuted, as we'll see later in the game. Test our shotgun out. Love the sound of this thing. One of the sounds sounds like the sniper rifle from Halo, Halo CE. You know that noise. That noise, that's the Halo sniper rifle I remember. So let's see, let's increase our blade pact. Increase our dext. Of course, similar item tiers to that of Diablo 2. Yeah, you know, normal, slightly magical, rare, more magical. Unique items, and there's a new category of weapons called Legendary Weapons. Funny, because Diablo 3 introduced that. Okay, I misclicked there. For some reason, it selected an enemy hidden behind the stairs, rather than the unique monster. And I just got Poison. Poison increases damage susceptibility, along with the obvious damage over time. Which ties in with the role of the Outlander. They're kind of the debilitating focused class, like the Necromancer's curses. So for the rest of the classes, the Berserker is your melee DPS, kind of like the Barbarian, with assassin-like claws and a druid wolf motif. And The Ember Mages, of course, like that of the Sorceress, they all have, fire, ice, and lightning, but that's like any other mage out there. They do have final, their final, blizzard or ice skill actually, summons a copy of themselves with basic skills similar to that of the assassin's Shadow Warrior. And their Shock Bolt's skill operates almost exactly the same as the charged bolt from the Sorcerer and Sorceress, which I think is kind of cool. And the Engineers kind of like support summons of the Druid, so you have like the buffing things like their healing bot, and they're also tanky with a they're tanky relying on either two-handed weapons or big shields, like, or sword and shield, or weapon and shield like that of the Paladin. They're the party protector. We get another level. More blade packed. Let's equip this little necklace. Put this on. Equip that pistol. Cannons are meant for engineers. So, I know that I don't have any viewers right now, but you know what? I don't care. I don't care, I'm having fun, that's what's important. Oops, don't want to be looking at the game on this separate screen, that's a bit disorienting. Okay. I always like to make a safety portal up here, because when you die you can choose to like resurrect in the room at the beginning and such for penalties, but I just prefer to always resurrect in town so I don't get that opportunity. Also, when you get Vile Gnashers, always take them out because they will start making more Vile Gnashers from corpses, and they are annoying on higher difficulties when you cannot kill them fast enough. Also, there are champion monsters like Diablo 2. The boss monster groups are similar, that they have like are tied to that. For example, this guy's freezing. And we get some fame for that. Alright, before anything, I think I'm going to take a quick break. My head's hurting a little bit. I'll just put on B on intermission while I have a bit of a snack. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, sorry if this becomes like a recurring thing where I pause to take a snack, but, you know, it's New Year's Eve, let's party. I mean, it's better than having to listen to me eat, right? So yeah, we're in the Forgotten Chamber, and we find our first boss, which is actually a warm-up boss, the Fallen Guardian, which is right there. He has very slow attacks, walks very slowly, and is designed as a sort of warm-up. He's designed as a bit of a warm-up to new players. That's why he bosses later on will actually get like special, like, you know, intro titles and all that. Here it's just simply Fallen Guardian. Ow! His attacks do hurt, so if you're not careful you can die. I tried an Elite Hardcore run and this is where he killed me. It was almost embarrassing. You have the Scroll of Aim and Wreck. Quest completed. As you can see, my pet, or kind of in character terms, me, is taking a lot of damage. But not to worry, if your pet runs out of health, it'll just be at 0 and they'll run around for a bit in fear, and then they'll be back in the fight. So it's not like a really bad thing. They won't like actually die, but they will be put out of commission for a bit, and that can be fatal if you're relying on them to tank for you. Which near level 100, pets do get a buttload of health. Like, let's bring up my daily stats. Yeah, pet health 504. That's exponential as we go up.
Thanks.
I find myself impressed with your ability, human. I must confess, when I sent you on this quest, I feared you might not return. But it stirs my heart to see that my fears were unfounded. While you were gone, I located an item that might be of some use to you. Please take it, with my blessings, and the thanks of the Asterians.
Do you need something?
I am so sorry. You did all that work to recover the scroll of Animirek, and now the Grand Regent says we will not be needing it. I wonder why that is. If the Grand Regent wanted something to cure the little illness, then why does he not? Why does he no longer need say we no longer need it? I'm sorry, I'm just not a good Let's Player. I keep stuttering over myself. That's why I want to do stream Let's Plays, because I also don't have a good video editing software. I say streaming is more fun than recording and editing. I like improv like this. Just play as you go. Just stream. To me, streaming is just do what you love and let people watch if they want to. I need to be using my blade pack more often. Thankfully, I won't need a lot of mana for this kind of build because, the reason being because you don't have to cast it all the time, not like repeat cast like, you'd use for, like, glaive throw and such. Let's open the chest. Yep, just more mana, health potions, and gold. Gold is auto pickup in this game compared to Diablo 2. Argus.
Yes.
It is my duty to tend to the honored dead, but they are angry and risen from their dooms. I don't know why I got that accent. A tranquil sensor should calm them once again, but they attacked me and during the struggle I dropped it. Can you help me get it back? It's right there. Incense still smolders inside, emitting a peaceful sense.
Safe travels.
You have achieved the tranquil sensor. Thank you. I can use the sensor to purge the necromantic stain for the path of the honored dead. Guardians willing, that should let the honored dead return to their tombs in peace. Let's see. Varmint cinch, that's the exact same thing. Leggings, okay. I just need a few minutes to purify the tranquil sensor. It has touched the ground as now is unclean. It's marred by the stains of necromantic. Actually, I think it's just dirt. I could probably just polish it. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't know. It's this thing I love doing when I play single-player games with, like, just dialogue. I love to read it out in my own voice. I think I have a great voice.
Glad you made it.
You're strong one to survive this pass, but there are even greater dangers in the temple steps. Be sure you're ready before you venture any further from the Enclave. So that was our first example of a pass, or second example. The Echo Pass was similar. And each act has, like, typically, like, 2 passes, 2 open areas. This is the first open area, the temple steps. I like to go around the edges, and then just, like, you know, fill in the map the rest of the way. It's kind of my way of doing it. And there's a trap. It's the first example of a trap. Those ricocheting lightning bolts They're dangerous, incredibly dangerous. When you're at when you're in level 100 areas. Like, it doesn't matter how much armor you have. Those things will take a giant chunk or just instantly kill you if you're playing like Outlander or Ember Mage. And we get some nice loot. And our first example of a spell tome or spell scroll. Spells can be equipped both to you and your pets if you meet the required level. Your pet levels up with you. I like to equip the active spells on my pet, so they get something, so they have something to use their mana with. And then equip myself with the passive ones, like dual wielding, to benefit my pistols. So it's here, Draining Touch. The caster draws life from any foe struck for the duration. I don't see why not. And that's a Mimic. I actually knew this, because if you actually look, you saw that the little name tag that said chest was taller. Is actually taller than what the name tag for chest, when it says chest, it's much like taller. See that? That's like more narrow than the Mimic's name tag. So you can actually tell at a distance. And you don't even need to click on them to activate them. If you pass by them like that, they'll activate. It's just kind of a little thing I've noticed playing this game for so long. And we meet our first sub-location at Temple Steps, the Skull Hollow. We got another trap, a flame firebomb chest. Sets you on fire if you touch it. Also, it can set you on fire even if it looks like the animation just ended. If there's still tiny little few fire effects, it still can set you on fire. It's very annoying more than anything. Now this shady character, literally. Also, you saw those little spurts of blood. Let's look at my weapons for a sec. Yeah, both of these have conveys X physical damage over 5 seconds. That's just kind of the equivalent of bleeding in this game. So I just inflicted them with bleed. So here's how you, so you have all this stuff, you have all these items you need to get rid of. Send a pet to town, your pet will sell all items in its inventory and buy any items requested on your shopping list. So you request things from like potions, scrolls, etc. You can even request ultimate potions this early in the game. If you really want. I don't know why they have not changed that to only allow you to buy potions of the current tier. But I don't need to buy anything. Send it to town. Also destroy the Standing Stone because it's kind of required anyways. And like any good action RPG, you always desecrate the dead because that's fun to do. And you always get treasure for it. Diablo 2 teaches us. Let's talk to this guy.
Let me show you what fell off the back of the wagon.
I got a proposition for you. A little I scratch my back, you scratch yours kind of thing. See this crypt over here? It's called the Bone Gallery, and there's a little thing in there called the Rosa Mortis, which, while pretty valuable, is also guarded by the biggest undead monstrosity I've ever seen. You'll have to convince the Assyrian spirits to unlock the ghost chains, then give you access. Then get the Rosa Mortis away from that monster. But I promise to make it worth your while.
Let me show you what fell off the back of the wagon.
Rosa Mortis is apparently a handy little thingamajig that can save the life of someone who's been mortally wounded. Obviously, this sort of thing would be very valuable to someone whose homeland is being invaded by, for example, bear people. But as much as the Rosa Mortis is worth, it doesn't do me any good if I can't get inside the Sepulchre of Sorrows to retrieve it. The Vanquishers Commander told me about this thing. Like I could just stroll out here and pick it up, but she didn't tell me the gate was locked with chains only a ghost can open. And of course, while I wasted precious time trying to find another way in, the Stormbjorn showed up and cut my way out. So he opens, Bone Gallery, the level 8-10, I am only level 7. I usually like to wait until I'm at least the minimum level. It's just a safety thing. And I think it's like similar, I have not tested it, but I think the leveling is similar to that of like, ever since Pokemon Black and White, where it's just like, if you face, no, I think it's like exponentially. No, I'm thinking of I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of like Diablo 2, where if you start facing enemies that are way over your level, you actually start getting an experience penalty to stop like power leveling and all that. And I'm afraid there would be like anti-power leveling in this game, so I don't want to like waste experience by challenging monsters above my level. I don't know why I was thinking of Black and White. Maybe that's because I'm watching the Chugga Conroy Let's Play. We have a Fisherman's Lantern. Wonder what that's for. Light it and...
Hear my words.
I mean you no harm. I am but a lonely soul, trapped in the afterlife, betrayed and drowned by villainous companions. I dwell here, reliving my end, waiting in vain for my death to be avenged. But it has been nearly over 100 years since I took my last breath, and nearly that many since my murderers themselves perished in their hidden retreat in Plunder Cove. Seek their leader, Captain Willie, through this portal. Show him that justice has neither forgotten him, nor forgiven him.
Hear my words.
I was a villain in my time. I broke into tombs and stole from the dead. But one day I realized how much pain I caused those still living, and I swore it would stop. My comrades, my accomplices, felt differently. They lured me out onto the river in this boat, knowing it would sink. They laughed as I sank beneath the waters. I assumed they would be caught and punished, but instead they were killed while concealing their loot in Plunder Cove. And so my death has gone, unavenged for all these years. That's also above our level. You know, I'm kind of sad I haven't seen Pizza and the Riolo in a while. I miss him. Ow! Yeah, I just love this game so much. Because, again, I was wanting to play Diablo 2 back in 2016, but for some reason the LOD installer did not work. Jordan told me about Torchlight 2, and I was like, it looks cartoony, but no, this game is a lot like Diablo 2, just with a few aesthetical and mechanical differences that makes the game more enjoyable in my opinion. So things like item stack, skills are no longer prerequisite based and now tiered. So even your starting skill can be advanced to the point where it's on par with end game skills. And at least in casual and normal, you can make a build out of almost anything, and it will work if you play your cards right. So, which is why I'm going to try an experimental build. I haven't tried a Hexlander or Hex Outlander or Pact Outlander. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just things like, you know, because for some reason I like playing this game by using just standard attacks mixed with status spells, or just I don't know what the word I was finding. Just that's what I typically like to do. Just non-weapon skills, because the animation is the same and it doesn't feel right compared to just simply using a shotgun, blasting and everything. Maybe this is the way that how Ross Scott feels in his Game Dungeon episode of Wolfenstein, where he said that guns are like a magic of their own. You point at something you want dead and it becomes dead. So maybe that's the kind of mentality I'm having in this game. Why shoot special bullets out of your gun when your normal bullets do the same thing? Also, we have Poison Burst. You coat your weapons with a venomous agent. If an enemy is killed, there's a chance to explode in a 6-meter cloud of poison, damaging enemies that come into contact with. Think of this like a poisonous corpse explosion, which is one of the Necromancer's most powerful metagame skills in Diablo 2. Because once you get one dead body, and you have your minions, of course, just being able to blast more and more corpses, thus you get more corpses to blast, and becomes a never-ending cycle of exploding bodies. Also, Stormclaws, they release little shock bolts when struck. Thankfully, compared to my fears when I first saw these guys, they are nowhere near as annoying as those sand beetles in Diablo 2 Act 2. Nowhere close. In fact, any shocking enemy is not as annoying as those goddamned sand beetles. Like, casuals, pros, and speedrunners alike all agree that those beetles are the most annoying things in that game. Honestly, the more annoying enemy type in this game is the exploding ones. Because, well, they explode, and especially in level 100 areas, that's an insta-kill most of the time. Also, even if I have the no fumble mod, there are occasional fumbles if your damage output is that low. Thankfully... Actually, you know what annoys me about fumbles? The enemies don't fumble. That's so annoying to me. It's just like... It's like, why do the enemies fumble but not you? Also, a little aesthetical option. You can choose to show or hide your helmet if you want your character's original hairstyle. Kind of like the familiar wig of Terraria. Also, we have Chester Copperpot, and he's carrying One-Eyed Willie's other eye. Yeah, I think if you've been like if you've been actually reading stuff up to this point, I think you'll know what this area references. And no, I will not do the truffle shuffle. I don't have a webcam, and unless you're going to pay me over... If you gave me a donation over $100, I would do it next time if I have a webcam. But no truffle shuffle. I've actually never, I've only watched parts of the Goonies. Like, I know, like, the famous scenes, and of course the end of the movie when they're getting into Plunder Cove and all that. Again, it's just, despite its aesthetical differences, this is just as engaging and as fun as Diablo 2. And Diablo 2 is actually one of my childhood games. You wanna know why? Because my mom used to play Diablo 2 all the time. As in, I could, because her computer, she didn't have headphones, I would hear the Bale's death scream all the time as she was doing Bale runs with her friends to try and get all the, like, the unique stuff before, like, I don't know if he was the ladder player or not. Thankfully, this game doesn't have, like, that meta stuff that, I don't know, meta game stuff just kind of bothers me and puts me off. Because I love to play these games casually, so when I see, like, all these, like, meta-level strategies and, like, paying people to run you through the game, I'm just like, ugh. I don't know, it's just not my cup of tea. That's why I like this game more, because you don't have that thing. Did I not even fight him? I fought all the flunkies before I actually fought One-Eyed Willie. But as you can see, I kill him pretty fast. And I found a mysterious pistol. Unique weapons, unlike in Diablo 2, where they're always, like, end-level stuff, these are just more like they're scaled based on current level. And we have the web shooter. It tears holes in webs and the things that make them. Probably some kind of Spider-Man reference, I don't know. But apparently... Oh, there's the exit portal. It usually generates on the surface. So Stern Beyond. It seems I have not yet earned my eternal rest. Your part of my story is done. Though, and if my gratitude means anything to you, you have it. Let's get the varmint cinch. Put it on this guy. Already have that. Already have that. So let's go back to that bone gallery now that we have a now that we're leveled up for it. Oh, unspent skill point. I guess I grew in fame. Let's see. Next unlock. I want to advance. I'm going to put master the elements. I'm going to master these skills. Put 15. And then the casted skills I'm going to put 4 into all these, so hopefully it's a good build. I'm gonna put more into long range mastery, so I do more damage with my pistols. I like shooting landers. You have skeleton mages. Those are pretty familiar, especially if you play Necromancer in Diablo 2. It's weird. Druid is my favorite class in Diablo 2, but in terms of casual play, I mean, in terms of like actual like competitive and meta level play, Druids are one of the worst classes due to the fact that yes, all their summons do not require dead enemies, but they can't summon as many, especially if you use like ones like either the Grizzly Bear or the Dire Wolves. Then you kind of lag behind in terms of like the Necromancer that can summon a crap load of skeleton warriors and mages, along with being able to resurrect an enemy, so if they kill a champion, it's theirs. And of course, their famous fire golem that burns everything near it. But Druid's my favorite because it's like that wilderness theme, and they summon wolves by their side, and wolves are one of my favorite animals, so oh well. I guess it's because I never got into the competitive side of Diablo 2. Oh. Shin popped on and then popped off. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, crypt areas always love to have those extra surprises. There's always common times you find like skeletons on the floor and then they raise up. Like you approach that bone pile, a ton of skeletons pop out. Skeleton torsos, that is. Also, I noticed the thing with Blade Pact, it does generate aggro towards you. Like, I noticed that even when they're not, like, looking at you, and then you cast the Blade Pact, all of them just started right toward me. Mozzarella sticks are done. Alright, I guess that means another intermission. Nobody's watching, so... Okay, I'm back. We won't be making the next snack food until like somewhere like 30 hours or so, thankfully, won't have to deal with that for a while. It's better than eating on stream as far as you're concerned. Also, another thing, this web shooter augmented weapon, kill 20 spiders to upgrade it. You have to kill like a specific amount of a certain enemy in order to get its like upgraded effect, which is usually just like an additional one. Oh right, that was the other mod that I had. I also have the mod, unusable items are grayed out, or dark. Which means that, I don't know why, but I find that the red X that displays by default, is not good enough for me. I can't tell if something's usable or not. So having it, like, grayed out is a much better indicator. I played through these dungeon types enough that I can tell that that area, southern area right there, is actually near the stairs downward. So I'm going to go up here to check the rest of the floor. As much experience as possible. Speaking of experience, level up. Level 10. Did I kill the unique monster, or did it just disappear on me? I think it teleported. So I don't know. Oh, I was like, is my bullets going? No, it's somebody shooting at me. Also, secret area. The little shining panel. Press it. Boom. Again, I played through so many of these areas in the post-game map works where we play through randomized dungeons that I've actually memorized the secrets by heart. If my 1,000 hour playtime didn't tell you enough. Sadly, I'm not going to get the repulsion hex until sometime in Act 2, so this is what you're going to be seeing. You're going to be seeing me use the Blade Pact. I want to get it to at least rank 5 so I get the tier bonus. All casted skills have a tier bonus for every 5 levels, up to a maximum of 15 skill points invested. They typically range from like mundane, they boost like already existing stats, or they provide some really unique alternate effects. Like, let's check for example, the Root Blade Pact, just simply, the bonus for them just makes them last longer and longer. 9, 11, 13 seconds. But you get some more interesting effects. For example, Rapid Fire. Tier 1 bonus, errant shots are added every other shot, so you get a random shot that goes in a random direction. Tier 2 bonus, range extends to 12 meters, and Tier 3 bonus, targets are ignited by it. So it's kind of cool. A bit cornered here. And a lot of the times you get by those pits, skeletons will crawl out of it. Happens every time. Happens a lot of the time. If you see an empty pit like that, skeletons will start crawling out of it. It's just that I've memorized like all the random generation. Ooh, that's a scary monster. Wonder when we're gonna fight that. Also, because I've put a point into at least 1 point of shotgun mastery, enemies will now be blinded by chance, which means they're less likely to target anything and tend to wander aimlessly, kind of like confusion. It makes it great at keeping bosses from targeting you or your allies. Also, Lucky Coin, always the level 1 unique socketable. 1 to 6% increase in the amount of gold found. Randomizes. I say discard everything except the 5 to 6% increase. Also, I don't wait to equip stuff that I find. I just wait until until I get like unique stuff to equip that, since they have the best effects typically. So where is the Rosa Martis? So we have a... I never noticed this detail, to be honest. So it looks like several sleeping bags and a stuffed bear. We have a mysterious skeleton with a bucket on its head. Maybe the Rosa Martis is in there. No? That's a unpleasant noise to hear from that pit. And more drugs. Also, if you're a veteran of Torchlight, you might notice that this theme sounds very familiar. That's actually the final boss theme. I never played the first Torchlight, but I just know based on the game files. Now, because we had a proper boss, we have a proper victory theme for our efforts. Oh, we have a razor bow of binding. Bows and crossbows are the other things that your character can equip. This is an example of a bow. Bows are of average range, moderate speed. They're pretty much the most balanced ranged weapon. Pistols are short-ranged, but very fast and very high damage. And moderate to high damage, especially because you can equip 2 of them. A lot of the meta level builds consist of Akabo Outlanders. Shotguns, like I said, are like a short, wide cone for like crowd control. And crossbows, for some reason, are the longest range, but with low DPS and really fast fire rates. I'll show you what I mean when I get the crossbow reward.
Let me show you.
You found it? You found it? Fantastic. Here, let me just pay you for your trouble, and I'll be on my way. Now, our example of a crossbow. Fast speed. Just faster speed. What am I... What? Oh. I don't know why I did a derp. Let's also look at our quests though as well. Reading. It appears you were too late. The alchemist has already reached the Enclave and was rebuffed by the Asterian Grand Regent Aldrin. The alchemist fled towards the south of the Path of the Honored Dead toward the Wellspring Temple. Shortly afterward, Commander Vale, another of the heroes of Torchlight and close friend of the Destroyers, arrived with a platoon of troops. She quickly sought out for the Wellspring Temple to protect the Guardian Water, in case the alchemist struck there next. There's been no word from her since. You know. Also, as you can see, my passive shadowing ammo skill came into effect. I have a few shadowings by my side, but they're very short-lived, as you can see. Right as I say that, they die. Also, like Diablo 2, this game has socketables. And you eventually find NPCs that can either destroy the item to recover the gems, or destroy the item socketed inside to free up space. The game says not to save it for later, just use it when you can. Especially if, like, you know, you're going into a fire-heavy area, you should just equip the fire ember specs to resist the fire. Beast Warrens. That means... You found the armor schematics. That's what that Vanquisher wanted in town, didn't he? Let's add a bit of ice. No, poison to our bow. Add a bit of lightning to our gun. Don't worry about me selling supposedly unique socketables. You get more special ones later on anyways, so...
What's your business?
Well done. I'm sure Commander Vale would have no objection to me giving you a reward for your service to the Empire. Take this, it's all I've got, but know that you've got my gratitude as well.
What's your business?
If you're not authorized for travel... Oh. He just says the same thing. I thought he said something unique. Let's get that. Bam! Pack lasts for 9 seconds now. Let's increase our magic damage just a little bit. Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, you notice that little aggro effect when I casted the Blade Pact on them. They all started running toward me. So it does have an aggro effect. Also similar to other games, this game's map is procedurally generated. Alright, so we've done a nice full circle around. We just left them dead up there. I'll get those items later. They don't despawn. Ah, now here's an example of fishing. Fishing just gets a lot of like pet-based items, as you'll see. You wait for the little ring to hit the inner ring. Damn it! It's too early. Got a big jackal base. Big jackal bass. Okay, here's something I need to go over. I hate the fact that when I was young, I used to call bass as bass, even if it was the fish or the audio term. But now that I've learned that bass is pronounced bass in audio terms, I keep calling it bass, even though I'm trying to refer to it as a fish. It's stupid. And I don't know why I do it. There's a little childhood dummy thing that I have. Oh! Another thing of the game. That's called a phase beast, similar to the, in the first game. When defeated, they open a special challenge portal. Go into it, you face a special challenge. Navigate the maze. Oh no, the worst possible one. Yeah, you have to navigate a maze of raising platforms like that. You can't fall into the water, of course, but... Go over here. Find a mysterious gem. You can complete the maze normally, but I always sense it's probably more worth my time to complete the maze completely for the best rewards. I'm gonna be here a while. And because this is a live stream, I can't simply edit it away. And if you run into a dead end, you get a skeleton. The skeleton jumped out. I don't know what that's a reference to, but I know it's a reference. Okay, so what I was saying, the big jackal base is just a transformation item for your pet. Transform into a jackal beast for 15 minutes. Jackal bass. There it is again. Big jackal bass transforms your pet into a jackal with a venomous bite, so they deal poison damage. Or poisons them. Oh no, that's further up. I have to find all 3 of the mysterious gems. Let's see what it says. What secrets does it hold? It holds a secret to my frustration with the stupid maze. And wrong dead end. So as you can see, my pet is now a jackal beast that poisons enemies it bites. Just a cool thing to have, especially good considering I'm a outlander. Alright, mysterious gem number 2. The problem is the sound for the platforms raising out of the water is so long that it stacks up too much and winds up interrupting itself. Or going quiet. Now I think the 3rd gem is up this way. I wish I did not get this one phase beast challenge. I wish I got something else. What's he going after? I thought he was running at an. I thought that he was running at an enemy off screen. Ah, there's the exit portal. I don't want to go there yet. Ah, there it is. Mysterious gem number 3. Damn it. So, put in each mysterious socket, and we get a golden chest for our efforts. This is definitely worth it. Shit ton of gold and gems and a coin. I mean, crap ton of gold for this level. 4% increase. Might as well save that. Just one? I'll just open them all. So I get all the items on the ground. Mysterious helmets. Servo helm. It mechanically augments your own brain power, except it's engineer only. There are two things you can do with unusable equipment. You can either save it, you can either just sell it, trade it with someone who can use it if you're playing multiplayer, or put it in your shared stash for if you're running an engineer class. You can, if you run an if I were to like play engineer next, which I am playing an engineer character in my own time, I will maybe I'll give that to my engineer character to use, even though she's in Act 2, almost to the middle of Act 2. But for now, I think I'm gonna end it off here. Nobody seems to be coming in. I think I bored the one viewer I had. So, and I just wasn't lucky at all. So you know what? Maybe streaming isn't just cut out for me. I should just stick to like watching videos or something. Just about like 2-hour mark. Nobody's come in. Not even Peyton. So, I may as well give this a shot. Maybe everybody's just out having their, you know, New Year's party and all that. So, I think it's better that I just simply enjoyed myself and let everybody else enjoy themselves. So, that's it for the stream for now. I'll try something else later.